Episode 1: The African Kingdoms Behind Antigua's People. Before slavery, there was royalty. Before the shackles, before the auction blocks, before the sugar fields baked under a Caribbean sun, there was royalty. There were kingdoms, thrones, sacred drums of people with names that carried power, for lineage who born in bondage but in prelims. This is the story of Antigua, but not the one they taught you in school. This is the story before the horror, before the ships. When Antiguan ancestors weren't victims, but visionaries, warriors, scientists, and spiritual leaders. And if you listen closely, you can still hear the echoes in the wind, you can feel the breathing in the music, you can see the wisdom in the elders' eyes. So let's go back, not to the plantation, but to the past. The slave trade routes. The people were stolen from empires that had stood for centuries. The Ashanti, masters of gold and diplomacy. The Yoruba, its philosophies shaped everything from mathematics to medicine. The kingdom of Dahomey, fierce, organized, and guarded by the most feared female military force in West Africa. The transatlantic slave trade wasn't just a movement of bodies, it was the bleeding of nations, the theft of languages, gods, and dreams. Tens of thousands were ripped from their homelands and chained in the belly of floating prisons. Many didn't survive the voyage, but those who did arrived in Antigua, broken in body but not in soul. Let's imagine life before the chain. In the Ashanti Empire, law was sacred. Justice was deliberate. The golden stool, the soul of the nation, was so holy, no one dared to sit on it. Among the Yoruba, every birth was a conversation with destiny. Names held power. Children were believed to arrive with spiritual purpose. These weren't people waiting to be civilized. They were civilization. Libraries filled with scrolls, ceremonies celebrating the harvest moon, healing systems that used herbs long before modern science discovered them. They prayed to the orishas, divine spirits who still whisper through Caribbean traditions today. They weren't nameless. They weren't naked. They were magnificent. That breathing, the one that moves your feet at Carnival, that's not just for fun. That's memory. That's inheritance. That's resistance disguised as celebration. On the plantations, Westerners try to erase everything. Languages silenced. Their gods demonized. The stories scattered like ash. But the people, they eat the gods behind scenes. They embedded the rebellion in folk tales. They passed down knowledge, not in books, but in rhythm, tone, and tradition. Today, DNA doesn't lie. A growing number of Antiguans trace their ancestry to the Yoruba, the Igbo, the Mende. These weren't just slaves. These were mathematicians, metal workers, military tacticians. They didn't just survive the Middle Passage, they carried our genius across the sea, even if they had to bury deep. Even now, we speak with ancestral tongues. We don't know, we know. So why does this matter? Because when you know your past, you stop walking like you're lucky to be here. You walk like you belong here. You stop seeing yourself as the child of slaves and start seeing yourself as a descendant of kings. Caribbean identity didn't begin in chains. It began with civilizations that taught the world about time, nature, spirit, and structure. Reclaiming these isn't just about pride, it's about healing, it's about reconnecting with a part of ourselves that colonialism told us to forget. And when you speak this truth, something shifts, generation rises, and the ancestors smile. If the story moved you, share it with your cousin, your child, your friends who never learned this in school, because this is the Antiguan legacy, inheritance, and it's time to wear it like a crown. Subscribe to the Antigua channel, and let's keep digging up the roots and make Antigua whole. This is just the beginning. The ancestors are watching, and they are proud. Stay tuned to the next episode.
Get on the floor, dance like you sick. Yeah, dance like you sick. Do the you sick, that's right. Big up, Alexander, you sick. We say, big up, bad man, Santa, you sick. First, now, last, look how him dance and look how him sharp. Undisputed champ of the world. Get on the floor, dance like you sick. Yeah, dance like you sick. Do the you sick, that's right. Big up, Alexander, you sick. We say, big up, bad man, Santa, you sick. First, now, last, look how him dance and look how him sharp. Undisputed champ of the world. Yo, you sick. Up on a weave and dash out the lit. Me say the man so sharp and have fun. I got trick. Look at the movement, the job flick. Here put the training man, them a strict. Big up, Alexander, you sick. AJ Wild of Fury, take your pick. Stick to him word and he not contradict. Sick a bad man, you sick. Up on a weave and dash out the lit. Me say the man so sharp and have fun. I got trick. Look at the movement, the job flick. Here put the training man, them a strict. Big up, Alexander, you sick. AJ Wild of Fury, take your pick. Stick to him word and he not contradict. Sick a bad man, big up all the fighting man. Big up all the fighting man. Big up the strawway true to Bantam. Each one of them a warrior and